Good evening, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter followers. This is Dr. Carolyn Hall, CEO and founder of B.O.S.S.CHICKS Empowerment Coaches. And today, the title of this video is, Are They Qualified to Speak into My Life? And by they, I'm talking about the people that we share our visions, our goals, and our dreams with. A lot of times we tell people about the plans that we have, and we pay to go to these events where people have promised us that they have, 30 strategies for breakthrough, or this person is said celebrity's baby's mother, and they're holding a networking luncheon, telling you how to be successful. And by no means am I trying to, throw shade at networking events and conferences, because I think that these are wonderful ideas. And I think that a lot of times the opportunity to meet other people, other like-minded people who have visions and goals and dreams, is very empowering in and of itself. But my question is, are the people who are on these platforms, or are the people that we're sharing our ideas and dreams with, are they qualified to speak into our lives? Simply because somebody is a celebrity, or because somebody is old. I was about to say old as H, but simply because somebody is old, or has worked the same job for 40 years, does not mean that that person is qualified to speak in and over our vision. We have to think about the fact that any tree should bear fruit. In the Bible it talks about how when Jesus passed a particular tree 2 times, and the second time he came back and the tree had no fruit, he cut the tree down. Why? Because essentially he was demonstrating that if a tree, if something doesn't bear any good thing, then it's useless, right? And so in the very same way, these people that were allowed to speak in and over our lives ought to have some evidence of goodness that is happening in their own life. For example, if you're telling me that you're holding a conference and the conference is about how to walk in purpose, then I'm going to need to see some evidence of purpose being fulfilled in your life and how you've helped others to get there, right? If you're holding this conference about being single and sexy and empowered at the same time, I'm going to need to see some evidence of how you are the thing you're talking about and how you've helped other people get there, right? I'm not talking about simply having gone to school for something or earned some sort of certificate that credentials you. But I am saying that there need to be qualifications. There needs to be a visible resume, some sort of tangibility to what this person is talking about. Because, if you're like me and you scroll through your timeline or your Instagram feed, you saw conference after conference, luncheon after luncheon, where somebody that has some sort of notoriety in the city that you live in has, or even if somebody that just came out the woodworks, no certification, no platform, no nothing. All of a sudden they started something and they've given themselves a title as motivational speaker. And you think, well, who else have you motivated? If you're thinking about what it means to have a vision, or what it means to fulfill a vision, we need to be able to see that thing evident in the person who is speaking over and into our lives. And this is so important. Why? Because 2 things happen as a result of the words that people speak to us. Either that thing is going to speak life to us, or it's going to speak death to us. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something bad to speak death. Well, what you say, Dr. What do you mean it doesn't have to be bad to speak death? If you're going to pay somebody to at some conference to speak into or over your life, and this person has just basically titled themselves a life coach, and they don't have any sort of training where they work with people and you have visible results of people that they work with, and you see the thing being or they are visibly accomplished themselves, not just famous for the sake of being famous, but there's something that they've achieved on their own. Then what happens is all they're giving you is a bunch of catchphrases and sound bites, and they're not giving you anything that will cause the vision to flourish. Instead, what they're doing is they're causing the vision to die because they're not giving you any tools to work with. You know, in the very same way, we have to understand that we can't just tell auntie so-and-so or uncle so-and-so, a mama or a brother or sister about our vision simply because they may be older than us, or simply because they're part of our family. What happens is that even well-meaning people can give bad advice. Why? Because these people may be well-meaning, but because they don't understand the vision that God is giving you, a lot of times they begin to speak doubt and discouragement to you because they cannot conceive what it is that God has given you personally. And remember, even when God gives us a vision, a lot of times it's big for us to understand, which is why we sometimes seek out confirmation and validation, right? The word of God says that God does exceedingly abundantly above all we think or ask. So when he gives us a vision, many times it's bigger than anything that we've sort of wrapped our minds around, you know, and sometimes it takes us a while to understand it for ourselves. So with that being said, we need to be asking ourselves, are the people that we're sharing, you know, our information with, are the people that we're looking for business advice or motivational empowerment from, are they qualified to speak into and over our lives? You know, I'm a person that I feel very strongly about my money. Okay, if I'm giving you my money, you know, I hate to go gangsta on you, right? But if I'm giving you my money, I'm expecting something in return, right? That's an investment strategy. So it's like when people invest into the stock market, they don't just put money on stocks and never expect anything in return. Okay? In the very same way, when we go to these conferences and these workshops and these events and we've paid our money, or even if we've not paid our money but we've given our time, that is an investment, and there ought to be a return on the investment. And if there's not, we need to really question before we even go, are these people qualified to speak into and over our lives? And so I encourage you to continue to move forward with your vision. But the first confirmation that you need to get, right, and the most qualified person to speak over your vision is the one that gave you the vision, God. I'm not going to get too deep on you. God gave you the vision. And so because God gave you the vision, you need to be seeking out the voice of God so that you can have clarity and strategy about the vision that he's giving you. Well, you say, Dr. Hall, how do I, seek God out for clarity about the vision? Two very simple things. They're very simple things, but sometimes they're hard for us to do. One, we need to be in prayer about the vision that God has given us. You don't have to be a deacon, a minister, or somebody big. You don't have to have flowery words to pray, but you do need to set aside uninterrupted time where you communicate with God about that which he's laid on your heart or that which he has purposed for you to do. And even in that uninterrupted time, you need to give God time to answer back. And if you haven't yet learned how to recognize the voice of God, God's voice sounds just like his word. Okay?